Welcome back, stock market traders. Let's take a look at the charts for Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. This is a daily chart of the S&P 500. This chart, according to this chart, if we read it correctly, we are still in an uptrend. Today, it tried to push above the previous all-time high here, but it failed. Dipped lower and finished right between the 10-day and the 20-day moving average. So for tomorrow, look at the support levels, green zones, and resistance zone would be around that 47.43 and the high for today. I think trading between all these moving averages will be very choppy. So I will not trade it. I will only manage my current position. Today, I ended up selling some of my shares. I'll show you using the 5-day minute chart. This is a 5-minute chart. This is where I sold, gapped up. This is where we closed yesterday. Gapped up today, try to push higher, pull back, try to push higher to that new all-time. This was the previous new all-time high, failed, dipped, broke below today's the morning's low, and that's when I decided to sell some shares. I mean, the chart still looks good. I just wanted to book some profits. Let's go to the hourly chart. Levels that I'll be watching tomorrow will be today's high or the previous all-time high, which is around this area here. And for support will be 47.20 and that 20-day moving average 4700. And finally, the should be very strong support 4770 to say 4785. That would be this previous pivot level, the 50-day and the 5-day moving average. If we dip below that, I will liquidate my position. Anything here in between here, these moving averages between this level here, I will just manage my position. I will not be adding, and I will only be selling. Mentioned in the previous video, 47.20 and 47.30 to be resistance, and it actually acted as support since it gapped higher. It was very choppy most of the day. Let's now take a look at the Nasdaq 100. This is a daily chart. Today, we found resistance against the declining 10-day moving average. I did end up selling some shares. I'll show you in a minute using intraday chart. For tomorrow, I would expect for the next trading sessions, I would expect that to be very strong resistance. All these moving averages and pivot points, I think is going to be very difficult to push above that. Anything in between here will be very choppy. My stop loss, it's right below that 100-day moving average and the 15,700 pivot point. If it dips below that, I will liquidate my position. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. So this is the 5-minute chart. Similar pattern to the S&P 500, gapped higher, pushed higher, dipped, and kept doing that. Found resistance around the 16,000 level. Couldn't make it above it. Dipped again, broke below the day's low, and that's when I decided to sell about roughly one third of my original position, which I bought. 2 days ago. That 15,900 pivot point was a pivot point for the day. Look how I just coiled around it. Huh, interesting. Let's go to the hourly chart and look at levels that I'll be watching tomorrow. Minor pivot points will be 15,900, 15,800. Major, like I said, major resistance would be all these moving averages up here. I don't think we're gonna push above all of these. Say tomorrow or the next couple of sessions. It will be nice if it just consolidates, in here. Um, my stop loss, like I said, I raised it to underneath the 5-day and the 100-day moving average, which is also below that 15,700. If it can dip, it can drop below all these support levels, then I will liquidate my position. Any trading around here, I will just manage my current position. Even though the price action of the last couple of sessions, last 3 sessions looks very bullish, if I had to pick or guess, I think the path of least resistance is south. We'll play a session by session. I'll just manage my current position. I'll take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is a daily chart, still in a very strong uptrend. The chart looks beautiful. Above most moving averages. Today, try to push above the 10-day moving average. Couldn't do it. Dropped again. Found support around the 36,200 and the 5-day moving average, and it's just right between the 10 and the 5. For tomorrow, I would expect the 10-day to be to act as heavy resistance also. And then we got this level up here. So anything here will be very choppy. Strong resistance. For support, it will be the 5, 36,200, and the 20-day moving average. See that green zone right there? I think there'll be lots of buyers there. Let's now take a look at the Semiconductor Index. Today, found heavy resistance around the 3,900 level, which was around the 10-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. And it closed right above that level of 3,900. So for tomorrow, expect that zone to act as either resistance if we're below it, or as support if we gap above it. Underneath for support will be the 5-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and right below that will be above the 3,800 level. Once it pushes above that 10-day moving average, I think the path of least resistance will be north, and all-time new highs will definitely be the next expected trip. Looking at the Russell 2000 IWM ETF, looking at the daily chart, still looks not beautiful. It's in the middle of this range, 226 and 210, 10-ish. Lots of resistance above. You got all these moving averages. They're declining. And then today, try to push above the 20-day moving average and just sold off very aggressively and finish below the 5-day moving average. So out of all the indices, this is like the ugliest one, to say the least. It's very difficult to trade this range. Prices are very unpredictable. If for some reason we end up dropping again and consolidating near the lows, this bounce could be powerful enough that I think it can bounce back above that 226 level. Hey, but that's only my guess. We'll play session by session, but definitely that could be a possible setup or scenario. Good luck trading tomorrow, guys.